We're live at the finals of the Fictional Evolution Tournament. This was a competition boasting a cavalcade of fiction's greatest video game players, with two players who came straight from the 80s and 90s, showing the rest of their opponents up on the biggest stage of all time, in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Jimmy Woods, the so-called wizard of his time, and master of the NES. And Haruo Yaguchi, a high school student and two-time runner-up Street Fighter champion. Both of these two quickly picked up on the game in only about a week's time, but pitted against each other in a battle that combines their two greatest strengths, platformers and fighting games. Who comes out on top? 3, 2, 1, go! Hi, I'm Brandon and I like Smash Bros. More importantly, I'll be advocating for the legendary Haruo Yaguchi from High Score Girl, a show I'm sure plenty of you are aware of. In all seriousness, the long and short of the show is that it's a coming-of-age story set in the Japanese arcade boom of the 90s, with companies like Capcom, SNK, and the like actually lending their games over to be used in this anime, and the main character, Haruo, has a knack for video games, as well as finding himself in awkward love triangle subplots, but namely for fighting games like Street Fighter 2, Darkstalkers, King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter, etc. And while Smash is in no means a typical fighting game, the fact that this is Ultimate they're competing in gives Haruo a slight advantage. Smash players already complain how hard fighting game inputs are for them, but Haruo knows all the inputs to every character in Street Fighter 2, which Ultimate has in Ryu and Ken. Even if he mains Guile in Street Fighter, he knows how to use Ryu and Ken, whereas I don't think Jimmy's experience with Mario or Mega Man will net him much help here. Haruo doesn't really have a basis for the characters he picks in fighting games, so I can't exactly call out a specific Nintendo character he'd go with, but those two, as well as Terry Bogard, are for sure options. Maybe he'd play Joker if he wants a character he can relate to, a fellow high school student with girl issues, and we all know how good Joker is in Smash. But characters don't matter as much as skill. Haruo has experience with both the tournament environment and multiple game consoles. He's been to 2 Street Fighter tournaments, and while he never did truly beat his rival and love interest Ono, he did beat everyone else to make it to Grand Finals both times. And aside from the PlayStation, he's owned basically every other console. To my knowledge, Jimmy only has experience with the early Nintendo consoles and a little experience with the arcade joystick, meaning he's only ever played games with a 2-button layout and a D-pad. Haruo has used controllers with multiple buttons and analogs, and is good with both an arcade joystick and a home controller. Jimmy's advantage in my eyes is that Smash is a platform fighter, and that he's a master at Mario Bros, but while he may have the movement of Smash down, he'll only be able to dodge for so long. Haruo knows the mindset behind a fighter, and how to get his opponents tilted or upset. He'll even use cheap tactics like camping or throw jank to win if he needs to. Or, in the realm of Smash, I could see Haruo timing out poor Jimmy to secure a win. He does not care if the crowd is against him. Meanwhile, Jimmy needed his friend's encouragement during the final tournament in California. If Haruo puts his mind to something, he'll succeed. Like when he trained extensively to beat Hidaka, after losing his ability to play video games. Jimmy only won Video Armageddon playing Mario Bros 3 because no one knew what they were doing. It was just revealed. He got lucky finding a warp zone, and Smash tournaments make sure all factors of luck and RNG are excluded. Well, most factors. So, no items. And I know I'll ruffle some feathers saying this, but Smash is a lot easier than normal fighting games. Yeah, that hurt a little to say too. But if Haruo gets even a little practice, his natural skills and experience as a player should nab him the win. The wizard can't compare. He's so bad.
Hello, 80s movie fans! If you're worried that someone was going to downplay the wizard himself, don't sweat. Debating for Jimmy isn't just a game, it's the chance of a lifetime. We know both combatants are great at video games, with Yaguchi specializing in fighting games like Street Fighter, whereas Jimmy mostly reigns in platformers like Mario Bros. And beat-em-ups like Double Dragon. Actually, both are pretty good at beat-em-ups, so that's something they share. But hey, Smash Bros. Is a fighting game. This should guarantee Haruo is our winner, right? Well, I don't think so. Smash Bros. Is a lot different from normal fighting games that Haruo plays. His games, like Final Fight, Tekken, Darkstalkers, and Street Fighter, are way up close, keeping you pretty confined and ready for combos. In Smash Bros., you have much more mobility, able to float around the battlefield and perform most of your best moves without needing complicated button combinations. With that, I think Jimmy will be able to learn how the game works in their training time. Jimmy is a natural at games, picking up on many of them the first time he plays them. Haruo needs to learn them, and that takes quite the amount of time. He's more realistic, while Jimmy seems to have an almost supernatural awareness towards video games. Somehow, he knew where to find the hidden flute in Mario 3, despite the game being revealed seconds before they had to play it. Thus, I believe Jimmy can train much easier and perform better in his training time. By the time of the tournament, he'll know every character's weaknesses, and he'll pick up on tons of combo moves, whereas Yaguchi will probably know a good few moves and a main picked out. But his training won't get him nearly as far as Jimmy. Despite his training, he wasn't ever able to beat Ono in a fair fight. He previously only beat her because some of her buttons were actually broken. The calmer, more collected experts do better than the passionate and intense experts in the universe of High Score Girl. I think Jimmy is actually pretty comparable to Ono here. Both are great at video games but don't talk, and it's weird that they're both so good at video games. Although, I guess Jimmy is less violent. Another thing, Jimmy doesn't take everything so seriously, like the world's gonna end with each game. He's more calm and collected, never showing to get angry at any point during his games. Rage can seriously make you a pretty bad gamer, stressing you out and making you slip up. Unfortunately for Yaguchi, he's incredibly cocky, believing very highly in himself. If Jimmy starts taking some of his stocks, he'll start having inner monologues in his head about how he shouldn't be losing to a kid. Meanwhile, Jimmy is just thinking in the back of his head, California. Jimmy was able to straight up win a major video game competition, even against a huge competition, including Lucas. Lucas I actually somewhat compare to Haruo. Both seem to look at themselves at a mythical level, considering themselves legendary. Yet, Lucas and his Power Glove aren't good enough to beat Jimmy at Mario 3. Plus, a bad loss can push Haruo away from games as a whole for a good time. Jimmy doesn't ever seem to lose interest in games. It might just be because Jimmy is younger, but I think he has more passion for video games at this point. Yaguchi has his license and a job to distract him from training. No such thing for Jimmy, who can dedicate a lot of his time to preparing for the tournament. And I already explained why Jimmy's training will prove to be more useful. Also, Haruo has multiple body spasms when he thinks this guile hitting him in the head. This could affect him mid-battle and make him slip up. Haruo is actually insane. Talking to these characters and seeing them all around his life, even when he isn't playing video games or really thinking about them. Jimmy isn't crazy at all. He's just a kid who misses his sister and wants to go to California. Okay, I'm fucking around now. But the other points though, I meant those ones. That's why I'm siding with Jimmy to come out on top like he did before. I love the wizard. It's so bad. But in a good way, it's cool. It's the cool kind of bad.
Jimmy is a lot stiffer competition than I first imagined, I'll admit. But there are a few holes in your argument someone like the legendary Yaguchi will see right through. Like for one, you claim Haruo sees himself like a god who won't take losses well. He was like that in the early season, but he humbled out after meeting Ono, who clearly put him in his place. When he lost his final match to her, he wasn't upset that he lost, instead that he just didn't get to confess to her like he planned. The only time he ever did quit playing games was when he wanted to get closer to Ono, and go to her school. Even when he returned from his slump, in a week's time, he restarted his training from ER Kung Fu to beat Hidaka. Speaking of, I see the comparison you drew between Ono and Jimmy in their unearthly ability to play games, but Haruo did overcome someone with the gift in Hidaka. A girl skilled enough to beat 10 players in a row, who almost beat Ono had it not been for her emotions getting in the way. She still had the skill to do so. Jimmy may be exceptionally lucky in Mario, but that won't translate to Smash, I'll say. Mario and most single-player games have preset obstacles, whereas in a fighting game, your opponent is the obstacle, something you can't account for playing the game over and over again against computers. Street Fighter 2 was heralded for being the first game you and another player could truly test your skills against each other at, so Haruo has been doing this thing since the very beginning. The tournament Jimmy went to had multiple players competing in single-player games, with no dominion or effect on each other's performance. Plus, with how socially inept he is, I don't think he's going to go out of his way in a week's time and try to find opponents to practice against. Haruo does do this, even when his school prohibits him. Like I said, with actual practice, he's learned how to get inside his opponent's head almost effortlessly. He punishes offensive playstyles, can work around defensive playstyles, he pretty much can see whatever his opponent's doing and react accordingly. There's again the fact he's the only one with experience using a modern controller. In the little training time allowed, I doubt Jimmy will pick an overly complex character. It's almost pre-written in my eyes he'll pick Mario. And thus, his gameplay will be easier to exploit. Haruo's fighting game experience has taught him about a lot of things such as matchups, so he knows how to learn the matchup. His fighting game experience also translates to more advanced techniques Ultimate has. He's played Tekken and Virtua Fighter, both games which require the player to master movement just like Smash. Darkstalkers taught Haruo how to guard cancel, so he could parry attacks. And again, he knows the inputs to attacks like Ryu and Ken's True Shoryu, or Terry's Power Geyser and Buster Wolf. You claim that Jimmy being a natural in his universe is something really impressive. Meanwhile, his competition, Lucas, used one of the most awful and laughable controllers out there. The Power Glove isn't good. Why would that be a plus for Jimmy? Well again, Haruo defeated many of the best Street Fighter players from across Japan. The major boon to both is that they won't have a lot of time to practice this new game, but we've actually seen Haruo pick up games really quickly and take on win streaks. See when he played Street Fighter Alpha and Samurai Showdown for the first times. But not only is he a really fast learner, he knows how to use his resources better. We've seen that he usually spent his school lunches reading video game magazines. Competitive Smash Bros is a lot different than just playing the game at home. Specific rule sets tournaments enforced aren't exactly painted clear in the game. I could see Jimmy playing in the default setting, relying on lucky items and stages with hazards to win, and playing the game on a timed match setting. But when the day of the tournament arrives, his hyper-offensive playstyle, because time matches require you to get the most kills to win, will be snuffed out by Haruo preserving all of his lives in the normal stock-style match. Also, I just feel like Haruo's gonna like Smash a lot more. There's a lot of characters in this game that he really likes. Even his main Guile is an assist trophy. But do you really see Jimmy going, Corrin, Dark Samus, when he gets the game? No, he only says California anyway, so that's actually a nipped comparison. I don't think this will be an easy match for either, but my main argument for Yaguchi is his natural experience and skill in this type of environment. Jimmy has the platform aspect, and Haruo has the fighter aspect of platform fighter. But while Jimmy has some extreme natural skill to his name, Haruo has dealt with this sort of thing before, and is just naturally more driven and experienced to handle this new, ultimate battle. Also, Ono gets pretty violent when people mess with Haruo. I'm unsure how well Jimmy will perform if he's got a bloody nose or broken rib cage in the middle of his match. Okay, he's like a kid, I'm sorry.
Well argued. Too well argued. Hey, I can't give up on Jimmy yet. If he loses this, they'll put him in a home. Do you want to see that happen? You want to see them put Jimmy in a home? Of course not. The only home he's getting is the home run of the baseball bat item. Oh wait, tournament rules means no items. But yeah, that's the first thing. Why would Jimmy spend his training time with items on like you said? Surely Corey and Haley will explain to him the terms of the tournament, and then have him train with only stocks and only let him play on legal stages. Sure, that's not quite as fun, but it's hard to tell what Jimmy would consider fun since he doesn't talk too much. What I do know is that he considers it fun to play in tournaments, so from the little we know about the inner workings of Jimmy, we can at least say that he's all about that competitive scene. Also, you know what? Lucas was pretty damn good with the Power Glove. Yes, the actual thing sucks, but in the glorified movie world, it's a magical device that puts the power straight into your hand. It's awesome. Has to be, because Nintendo wanted to sell that shit. It had to look good. Let's take a look at the characters these two are likely to pick. Jimmy, as you said, is the Nintendo kid. So yeah, I think he's backing my boy Mario with those sick flood moves and fireball attacks. Haruo? Probably either Ryu, Ken, or Terry, considering his love for fighting games. Why do I bring this up? Well, all three of those characters are actually considered favorable matches for Mario. As in, it's more likely that if two characters are equally skilled, Mario has a better shot of taking it. Wahoo! Again, Jimmy's got time for this shit. An entire week to prepare? He'll at least be equals to Haruo in skill. Though, if real-life troubles end up distracting Yaguchi, like say, he wants to go on a date with Ono, that gives Jimmy more time than him to train and make himself a better Smash player. I also wouldn't call Hideka someone who had the gift. When she wanted to get good, she had to train with Felicia and her pals to get as good as she was. She's no wizard. She's just some spiky eyelashed fucker who tried to con Yaguchi into dating her. Why watch High Score Girl for romance when you've got the romance between Corey and Haley?
Yeah, well, just keep your power gloves off her, pal, huh?
My final argument. What if Corey and Haley see Haruo win the first match and decide to sabotage him? Haley could use the classic line,
He touched my breast!
No!
and then everyone in the audience will just start beating the shit out of Haruo without hearing his side of the story, since that's just how things go down for Yaguchi. Then he gets kicked out. Haley can then get her trucker friends to finish him by further beating him to a bloody pulp until he's crippled forever. Don't mess with the wizard.
Are you trying to blame a kid getting put inside of a home on me? And that's about it for now. Our players are practicing as we speak, and from the looks of it, Jimmy's gonna need every second of his time to even take a stock off Haruo.
As if. Haruo would only manage a stock against the wizard if items and stage hazards were on. But I guess we know our stances. What about yours? Leave a comment below predicting who you think will win this tournament. Catch up back for round 2 where we'll settle it in Smash.
And please, no Johns.